Ooh, what time is it?
9:33.
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody. Hey. Hey. Where's everybody at? hmm Oh, God, Joseph, my foot is irritating me.
Mm-hmm.
My foot is irritating me. Oh, Jesus. Hey, everybody, come on in. Come on in, everybody. Where's everybody at, Joseph? You see anybody?
Mm-hmm. Hold on. There's two people in
Oh, yeah?
there. I'm sure I'm one of the two.
We got a guest. Let's see. Kenton is here. Okay. Hey, Kenton.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
What's going on? Well, we live. We,
Okay, well, thanks for telling me.
I'm sorry. Um, we just
Hey, what's up? What's up?
we're giving people opportunity to come in.
Okay, okay, well, thanks for telling me.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me good? We
Hey,
just
what's
giving,
up? What's up?
we're giving people opportunity.
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I thought I overslept.
Oh Lord, I almost did the same thing too. Cause today is like Sunday dinner at my
Okay,
mom's house. So I went to my mom's house for Sunday dinner, and I came back, and you know what happens after you eat a meal?
right. Trust me, I know.
You get the itis.
There's another one you could get.
hmm
Because you know what? I won't even tell y'all that today.
mm
But I get so nervous when I have to come on.
Oh gosh. Hey Monica, how are you doing this evening? What's going on to everybody on Facebook that's joining us? And will be joining us, and welcome to those of you that will be watching the replay. Please accept my apology. I'm just not presentable right now, Kenneth. Trust me. That's why I have the avatar on. Um
Okay, do I need to go to my avatar?
you can if you like.
Yeah, so everybody don't have to see all inside of my big house.
You don't necessarily have to show your face if you
I'm
don't
mess.
want.
I'm
This is
messing.
this is a safe space. You can do whatever you want here.
Okay,
Yes. So feel free. Whatever makes you comfortable. If you're comfortable showing your face, cool. If you're not, then or if you don't feel like showing your face, just put your avatar on.
okay,
I don't have a problem with that.
good deal. Well,
Yeah.
since you all are not showing your wonderful faces, I'm not gonna show mine either. Cause I don't want them to come on and get scared and then log off because they see me and don't see y'all.
uh-uh. No, they ain't gonna do that. That's not gonna happen. Oh boy. Yes. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get started because I don't want to keep everybody too long. But this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. And, it's very difficult to talk about religion. And, a lot of people, I think a lot of people think that that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about religion. And that is totally not what we're going to talk about. We're totally not talking about religion. Okay. Um, Everybody has their own way in which they practice religion or see it or believe it and all that other stuff. And that's with all due respect. So, with that being said, the religion subject is off the table. We're not talking about religion. For the most part, we're talking about, and what the title means is, um, you know, our arrogance of, or our perception. That's what we're going to talk about. Our perception of who God is. Are we arrogant in thinking that God is this man that uh, looks just like you and I, same height, maybe, and he sits up on this throne and, he does what he does? Is that the perception that everyone has of God? Or do you have a different perception? You know. Um, Also, we're going to talk about Carlton. What is it, Carlton Anderson? Uh, this minister who has this philosophy about there not being a hell, and he's labeled a heretic. He's one of the first. He is the only heretic in history. In history, he's the only man to be called a heretic, with the exception of one other man who was a pharaoh, Pharaoh Akhenaten, who is also the father of King Tutankhamun. He was also labeled a heretic as well. He was the first monotheist, meaning he was the first man on earth to praise one God. Um, and he was labeled a heretic as well. And also, Carlton Anderson has also been labeled a heretic because of his belief that there is no heaven. I mean, no hell. Uh, we'll talk about that briefly, just a little bit, but I don't really want to get too much into it because, like I said, everybody has their own way of practicing their religion. So, with all due respect, if we were to get into a back and forth about that, we'd be here all night. Right, Kenton?
Oh, for sure we would.
Yes. Y'all, we have joining us tonight. I don't know if he want to go by his name, Whiskey Blue or Kenton Rogers, but either or. He is a
Well, we
great.
how about we will go by Whiskey Blue.
Okay, well, we'll
And,
do Whiskey Blue.
right. And the reason why we'll do that is just simply because there are a whole lot of people who know Kenton Rogers.
Uh huh.
But if you know Whiskey
Uh-huh.
Blue, you know Kenton
My
Rogers
new book.
as well.
Mhm.
However, Whiskey Blue is everything Kenton Rogers
Uh-huh.
is plus so much more.
Okay, I know that's right. I know that's right. I'm all for evolution. I do
Yes,
it every
sir.
year. I do it every single year. I surely do. Whiskey Blue. I do it every year. It's always something new, something different.
Yeah,
Because you don't stay in the same place. You don't stay stagnant in the same places. So
exactly.
even your own perception of who you are changes. You know,
Exactly.
from time to time, sometimes for people year to year, month to month, whatever,
Yeah.
Um, but everyone, um, we're privileged to have with us Whiskey Blue. Um, he's a childhood friend of mine, and he's also a very intelligent man, and especially when it comes to uh, you know um, spirituality, things like that. Uh, guys, welcome Kenton, please.
Whiskey
Also
Blue.
known as Whiskey Blue. So we going He said he wants to be known as Whiskey Blue, so we're going to respect that, and that's what we're going to refer to him as. Okay. So, with that being said, I know you just heard my commentary, Kenton. I mean, I'm sorry, whiskey.
Guess
I
what?
know
It's
you just
whichever one you
heard,
say is fine.
yes, I know you just heard my commentary on the arrogance of Christianity, and how I feel that, sometimes we, well, I'm not going to say we, because I've evolved on, but some people look at Christ, look at God, and they see Him as their equal, when in actuality, God is much bigger than that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, both in spirituality and in stature. You know, do you agree with me on that? What is your perception of of who God is? I mean, do you look at him as the same as you? What is your perception of who God is?
Well, definitely where I was and where I am now are two different things. I'll definitely say that to you. But I would definitely say that where I am now at this place in my life, I believe that God is everything I perceive him to be. And guess what? He's everything that you perceive of him to be, and everything that every over 800 billion people approximately that's upon the earth, he's everything that all of them perceive him to be. Because at the end of the true day, God is the God of your perception. And
Mm,
it's based on, listen, we like to say things about there being many gods, you know, but the
hmm
truth of the matter is there are many gods. There is many gods as there are people that are upon the face of the earth, if you
hmm
don't mind me going that deep, because he's the God of all of our perception. And
hmm
the God of
hmm
my perception, you may agree with some of the God of my perception, and some of the God of my perception you may not agree with, and vice versa.
Right,
Because
right.
the God of my perception is not a he nor she.
hmm hmm
You know what I'm saying? Now we say he, and we become most comfortable with he because we most people have become most comfortable with referring to God as a he.
I think you know what it is, Kenton. I'm sorry, Kenton. Again, here I go again. You know
It's
what
all
it is.
right.
You know what it is, whiskey. We have been conditioned, I think, to refer to God as he or she, or as a human being, because we've always been told, oh well, we were made in his, you know, we were made in his likeness. Um, but I think we were conditioned. From children, it goes back way back many years. We were conditioned to believe this, and to have the perception that we have now. A lot of us, was is conditioned. It's learned. It's learned behavior.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, growing up, um, I would go to friends' houses and see a picture of Jesus Christ as a white man, on the wall. you know, and that was, my early perception of who Jesus Christ was. Of course, I found out something different, as I got older and did a little bit more research. That that was just someone's perception of who Christ was.
Right.
Um, and I guess that was like what the going look or whatever, because you know that was everyone. I mean, you could go anywhere. You can go into any white person's home. You can go any black person's home and see that photograph of Christ, as a white man. You know. And I think it was because, like I said, we were conditioned. This is the perception that we have now is a conditioned perception, really, because from children, we go to church and uh, we listen to what the pastor says, and you know um but that we believe that perception of what the pastor says, and growing up, that's what we believed. A lot of people believe that same thing, so that was their perception of who Christ was. I think we definitely have to make the point that um the way in which we see Christ now is it's learned. It's conditioned in our minds. It's something that we've always been told. You know, people follow by example. It's not just children, but people follow by example. So um, that is what everyone's perception has always been. Now, when I talk about the arrogance of Christianity, what I'm saying is that it's like the way in which I think about who God is. I look at God and I say we are but the dirt under His nails. You know, in stature, I believe that God is great. That's what I've always been told. God is great. So God is great for me is just beyond measure. Um, and you know um, that's just what I believe. Um, it's it took me a while to um, gain my own perception of who Christ was, who God was, who God is. Um, and you're right, it goes far beyond he or she. It goes far beyond male or female or man or woman or looking like a man or a woman. God is way beyond that. People really don't perceive God the way they should.
Well, it's like this, because I didn't grow up in Church of God in Christ. I grew up in Pentecostal church,
Mm.
and they have you thinking. The only way I can make this make sense is this way: that God is a grain of sand, and He's just so great and so everything. But my perception of God is He's the entire beach. We are the grain of sand
Mm-hmm.
on His beach,
Mm-hmm.
because they narrow the God they believe in is vengeful,
Mm-hmm.
is evil,
Mm-hmm.
but they tell you that He's an all loving God. But all you tell me is that how He's going to punish me for not doing what He said. And that's the part that just made me really rethink a lot of stuff with church. Because even as a child, they made me a child evangelist. And, I got my little certificates and plaques, and I would question them all the time. And then they would have no answers for me, because I would ask them, well, if God is so loving, why would He put people in hell? If God is so loving, why does He hate? You say He hates this type of person, or He hates this. What if He loves me? Why would He hate me at the same time? They couldn't answer that question for me, because they didn't want to answer that question for me.
Well, I didn't know we was going to talk about this particular.
No, I'm just saying in
Uh,
general. This
um,
is what they do
but
when.
if you guys want to talk about, we could talk about it. You know, like I said, everybody has their own beliefs and their own traditions and what they do when it comes to Christ. So, uh, you know, to each his own. I learned how to even just even though I don't like something, I don't have. It's not that I have tolerance for it. It's just that I just don't indulge in it. Period. Point blank. So, what about you, Kenton?
You know, the truth of the matter is, I agree with you. There are things that that I don't indulge in, but that but there are also things that I do indulge in that other folks don't indulge in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as people get to know why I call myself Whiskey Blue, it's because number one, like I said, Kenton Rogers really was a model or a replica or what I believed that people wanted to believe about me.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that when I was by myself or around certain people, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And 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 I learned this a lot being in ministry, and I bring all this in because it all ties in together on my perception of God, or when I say the God of my understanding. Because for me, a lot of people don't know that Kenton Rogers has a dirty, filthy mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I am a cusser, and I know I'm a cusser. But most people that know Ken Rogers or think they know Kenton Rogers, they don't know that Ken Rogers really is a cusser. Now, they've heard me preach many, many times and were blessed by the words of inspiration that came from my mouth or through the message that came from. They were blessed, but they didn't know that I was a cusser. But if those same people knew that I was a cusser, they wouldn't have, many of them, not all of them, but many of them would have thought that I wasn't qualified to be up preaching, being someone that goes home and cusses. But what they don't really realize is that there are times I felt like cussing right up in the church, but they don't know that. But what happens is their perception of me change. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why when you talk about the ignorance of Christianity, I think the bigger thing that stretches even further is about the arrogance of Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Because we as individuals believe that what we accept is accepted. And
Uh-huh.
if we as individuals don't accept that, then it's not accepted. But the
Right.
reality is, and here's what we do: we have different levels of grace that
Mm-hmm.
we will extend to some people, but we won't extend to others.
Right.
So your cousin or your aunt can do
Uh-huh.
the same thing that I do, but you don't look at when she do it as bad as when I do the same thing
Right. Right.
because you gave her a grace that you won't give to me.
That's right.
Preachers do the same thing in church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of preachers preach against homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
they preach about that publicly, but behind closed doors, they don't believe the same thing that they preach
Come on.
because they're very embracing of their homosexual members.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not always accepting of you. So preachers are like, I used to have preachers come to our church and preach against homosexuality, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't preach against it at their own churches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the arrogance of Christians
Yeah.
that we think that how we perceive things is the right way or the wrong way. And reality is it's whatever you perceive it to be. So I don't have no sense in even arguing with anybody. If
Yeah.
people ask me, do you believe that homosexuality is a sin? I say to them, do you believe that homosexuality is a sin? And
Uh-huh.
if they say to me they believe it's a sin, I say it don't matter what I believe. What matters is what you believe.
Right. Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So I call that the bullshit arrogance of
Mhm.
many Christians.
Listen, it ain't nothing wrong with being a cussing pastor. They got a plenty of cussing pastors out there, and they preaching the word, and everything is still all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shoe. I likes to cuss myself. I love.
Okay.
I loves to cuss.
I don't know why y'all cussing because I don't cuss.
Chaba. Anyway, Joseph lying child. But yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Whiskey Blue. Uh, and that's what I'm talking about. I think we have a lot to learn as people when it comes to the way in which we not only perceive things in life, but perceive things like God and who God is and how great God is. Sometimes we don't listen to some of the words that we preach or the words that we say. There's a song called "The Great I Am." You
Right.
know, and it talks about the song is about God. He is the great I am. What does that mean? The great I am. That sounds amazing. That sounds astonishing. That sounds huge. It sounds epic. So we really need to start looking at some of the words that we say and taking them literally, and stop being so arrogant when it comes to our perception of who God is. God is great. God is just great. Period. There's no other way to describe God as but that, for me. Um, uh, and that describes God in every way for me. And no, I don't refer to God as a he or she. I do say he or she sometimes, or I'll say he. But like I said, that's because that's what I've been conditioned to, you know, call God. Him. You know, him, he. Uh, but yes. I think the Christian world has a lot to learn when it comes to the way in which they perceive who God is and what He's all about.
No, they need to read their Bibles for themselves and stop listening to the pastor. Because
That
that's what most of their problem is. They don't seek God for themselves. They just sit there and listen to what the pastor tell them. And then after that, they brainwashed into whatever he told them.
Mhm.
And then that's what's up. They don't seek God for themselves to find out who and what my understanding of God is versus what the pastor telling
Yeah, well,
me
I
to
think a
be two
lot
different
more. I think
things.
a lot more Christians do need to do that. They need to have their own individual perception, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of us we go to church because we want to be in unison with what everybody else does and what everybody else thinks, and you know what I'm saying, Kent.
Yep.
I'm whiskey.
Yep.
you know and I'm pretty sure you can agree with me on this. When you are in the church, and you're associating and networking with people that are quote unquote Christians, and they have this perception of they want you to be married and have three plus kids, and a wife, a beautiful wife, and so on and so forth. And that's where everyone's perception of you is, when in reality for some, that's not who they really are. Like you said, a lot of them, they preach about homosexuality, but in reality, that is what they practice. So you have so many men in the church, men and women, that lead this double life, if you may. If you may, that's how I'm gonna put it. They lead this double life, where they feel like they can't be themselves. They really can't be themselves, um, because others may perceive them to be bad or a certain way, or going to hell, and so on and so forth. So a lot of men end up living their lives um, as something else. You know, uh, it happens every day.
Yep. And I did it for 53 years.
Wow,
53.
how hard that must have been. You know, and it's so crazy. Whiskey Blue. I look at people like you, like I've never had to really. I've never really had to, you know, hide who I was, or um, you know, anything like that. In any situation, I've never really had to hide who I was or, fight who I was. Um, Even being into the church like I was, because I was really into the Church of God in Christ, but I've never had to explain myself to anyone or anything like that. And so, but then um, I look at men like you, and other colleagues of mine in the church world that just felt like they couldn't be themselves. They had to put on a facade, if you may, or have a girlfriend when they really weren't into girls, and just to put up a front for everybody else to see. You know, um,
Right.
and they for the most part, most of the guys that I knew, they were very unhappy.
Yeah.
They were very unhappy. They lived very unhappy and difficult lives because, man, what it must be to uh, um, um, switch from one thing to the other, or have this secret that nobody could ever know. That's what you're thinking. Oh, nobody could ever find this out.
Yeah.
Um,
And they find out.
the
And
pre
they a lot of time they know more than what we think they know.
right, the pressure. I mean, and then if somebody finds out, it's like, oh my God, my whole life is over with. Nobody will accept me in the church. Nobody will love me. I don't have any more friends. The church is all I know, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm there right now, but it's a wonderful place.
It's wow. It takes a lot to have to do all of that to lead a double life like that. I've always thought about how hard that must be, both mentally, physically, emotionally, everything across the board. I mean, um, wow. Uh,
Yeah, it's definitely a life to live. And but like I said, the truth that I've had to come to learn is that no one is gonna ever completely agree with you.
that's so true.
There may be a number of things that they may be okay with, but
hmm
they may not necessarily agree with you.
Right, right.
So I guess where I am as a person, and this is where I've grown to be as a person. When I went and I shut down all of my social media pages,
hmm
had thousands of members, you know, but I got closed all of them down. And I decided to start all over. I may have now about 50 members, 50 friends on Facebook, right?
hmm
However, the people that become my friend now, they're gonna know what I know about me.
Right, right,
And they can make a decision where we fit in each other's life.
right.
And we may not fit in each other's life at all.
Yeah.
We may have traveled and journeyed as far together as we can, but I
hmm
refuse to continue to be around people, and this has nothing to do with heterosexual people,
hmm
but I refuse to continue to be around heterosexual embracing or acting people while they
hmm
be who they are, and it's okay for them to be who they are, but I got to turn around and tuck my tail
Right,
because of who I am.
right.
I'm at this place where I got to fuck them. If you can't hear me preach and know that I am, but make sure you know who I am,
hmm
not who you
hmm
think I am.
hmm
Because listen, I'm just gonna be honest. I respect people of all sexuality, LGBTQ plus heterosexual, everybody.
hmm
But I am who I am.
hmm
And the reality is, how do I define myself? And I tell people they used to ask if I was gay, but the problem is they never asked me the right question.
hmm
They asked me if I was gay. And I told them no,
hmm
but they never asked me what I was. I didn't say I was heterosexual either.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right,
you just asked me if I was
right,
a homosexual. Well, the truth of the matter is I can be a homosexual at any particular period of time that
right,
I
right.
feel like being that. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't always feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
There are times, like for me, I can only be honest with me. I think men are beautiful, but I also think women are beautiful. You
right.
know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not attracted to all women, neither am I attracted to all men.
Right,
You
right.
feel what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I consider myself not to be heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual.
right.
I consider myself to be pansexual
Mm-hmm.
because it's not. I don't fall for people based upon their gender. I don't care if you're male, female, trans. If I connect
Right,
with you and
right,
I fall for you, it's
right.
not because of anything but you.
Right. It has nothing to do with gender. I understand clearly. I really
Now
do.
I
I
I
understand.
can
And
have
you know what a great way, what a great analogy. And that is something to be proud of when you can say it with such pride. Like myself, I'm the same way. I am the same way. I live it totally in my truth. And that's just that, whatever that may be. And I'm like you, I'm not a label king. I don't label myself as anything, period, point blank. I don't even label myself as pansexual, you know. But I am who I am, and that's that. Accept it or not, period, point blank.
yeah,
Uh, I make no excuses. I don't try to justify why, I just don't. I just really, I am who I am. My name is His Majesty. You can refer to me as His Majesty, Tremel McCray. You can refer to me as the McCray King. Wherever, I'm still the same person,
right.
Um, and that's just that. I think it's time, and I was on a colleague of mine. I was on his live stream last night, and I said, you know what? It's time for all of us to live in our truth. It is. It's time for all of us to be able to be ourselves, and it be okay. And a lot of that's another thing that I was going to say as well. You know, it's okay if a person has a different perception than you do, or they feel like you going to hell and so on and so forth. It's okay for them to have that perception because that's their perception. They have a right to that. It's okay. As long as they respect you as a person. See, a lot of people get into conflict and fighting and disagreements simply because they get in their feelings when someone does not agree with them. Okay. um just because a person does not agree with you doesn't necessarily mean that makes that person a bad person. It's just someone that just not believe the same thing that you do. They don't perceive things the same way that you perceive them.
But most of the time, the aggressor is the one that's against whatever you're doing
Right, exactly.
because you be okay with it
Because
because
because they're busy trying to bully
to make you see
you
things their way,
into right to
and that's
seeing
the
things their
problem.
way. Yeah,
Because
that's yeah.
you'll walk away saying, "Okay, well that's fine. You don't believe in homosexuality.
Hmm.
Well, you shouldn't either. And you're going to hell. And
Right.
you're this and you're that."
That's where the conflict comes in. It
But that's
is.
when the other person who was trying to be submissive to the situation is
Hmm.
now going to turn up because it's like, who the hell are you? Why are you
Hmm.
trying to force this on me when I'm like letting it go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which brings me to this man Carlton Anderson. I believe that's
Pearson.
Carlton Pearson. That's his name. I don't know if you've heard of Carlton Pearson. Whiskey
Whiskey.
Blue. I don't know if you've heard of Carlton Pearson, but he has been in the blogs, he's been in the news, he's been in the media for,
Oh,
I
wow.
say, probably the past 3 weeks. He's been trending. The reason being is because he preaches his philosophy that he preaches. Now, this man, Carlton Pearson. Let me just give you a little bit of history on him. He was a minister. Well, he is a minister, um, and he came up. He had a mega church. He came up under Orson Roberts. So he was in the hierarchy of the church until one day he started preaching that everyone goes to heaven. He said, everyone goes to heaven. He said, there is no hell. Everyone goes to heaven. Um, and that's when the church, they turned their backs on him and told him that he can't preach that. He even went as far as to say that he's been offered money and houses and all different types of things to change his philosophy on how he perceives God, and how he perceives what happens to us when we pass on. He believes that everyone goes to heaven, no matter what. And that is the big controversy in the media, in the streets, is that you know how dare you preach something like this when we as ministers, we preach to people, oh, well, God doesn't like this, God doesn't like that, or you can go to hell for this, or you can go to hell for that. You got to follow the 10 Commandments, or you're going to hell. You know, um, what do you think, Whiskey, about um, his perception of there not being a hell? What do you think?
Well, I will say this as far as, and I definitely am familiar with Carlton Pearson, Bishop Pearson. I used to go to his Azusa's out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back when I was a kid,
Oh, really? Okay.
and it's good to watch his journey. And I think at the end of the day, none of us have to understand where he is, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
as much as we have to respect that he is where he is, you know,
Right.
and it may
Right.
not be where we are, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, let's ask ourselves a question about
Mm-hmm.
the whole hell concept in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
you talk about Christianity as a religion, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it is a path, but we have so many other paths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so for us to think that we we project on God that God is only a God of Christianity, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but he's not a God of the Muslims, whom they
Mm-hmm.
refer to as Allah. But
Mm-hmm.
God is the God of the Muslims, and he's the God of Christians, and he's the God, of Jews, and
Right.
he's the God of the Buddhists. He really is the God. These are all pathways
Right.
to
Right.
get to God, and we haven't all traveled the same pathway. But
Mm-hmm.
each one of us have been given a life to utilize that life and to spend it the best way we believe is possible for what it is that we need to do to fulfill our own destinies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when you look at everybody turned on Carlton Pearson when he started having a different thought process.
Mm-hmm.
They turned on him. Now there are people that had turned on him that's now hooking up and back connected with him. He's not as bad as he was to people a few years when he first of all took his transition to the place of saying that there's no hell.
Mm-hmm.
But we use hell and heaven to control people in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people had an issue with him beginning to preach and to teach the way that he teaches, because if there is no hell, then they have to believe there is no devil.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe that there's no hell, and then you have to believe that there's no devil, then people are pushed to the place where how are we going to force people to do what we do You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because now we no longer have the ability to say to them, if you do this, you're going to hell. We used
Uh-huh.
it for control in the first place. I did it in my course of my life too, but I come to learn that it's bullshit, and I've also become allergic to bullshit too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've become allergic to the bullshit that I used to spew out of my mouth too.
You know what? When I came upon this brother, and I heard about his philosophy in preaching that everyone goes to heaven. I honestly have to say, even from childhood, I never believed that there was a hell for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never believed that I was going to hell. Ever, ever, ever believed that I was going to hell. As much as I heard, growing up, homosexuality is a sin, and if you are, then you're going to hell. I heard that all my childhood. I heard it all my teenagehood. I heard it all my adulthood. But I never, ever, for 1 minute, ever thought that I was going to hell, simply for several reasons. Well, one is because I believe that the God that I praise is about love, period, point blank, and I don't even need to go any further with that. And then the other thing is that I just don't believe that God punishes like that, like what people think, and I've never been one to take a man's word for it, because a man is just like me. A man can fall short just like me. A man can make a mistake just like me. A man can be good or bad just like me. A man can create a perception to make me believe that uh, um, this is what it is, and when the reality is nowhere near that. A man can do that. So I've never really had with all due respect to all the pastors that I follow in my journey, I've always had respect for them. Even my current pastor, have a lot of respect for Pastor Kevin. Shout out to Pastor Kevin E. Taylor. Have a lot of respect for my pastor. Um, but I've never believed that. I've
But
just never believed that there was a hell for me,
let me say
ever.
this, and I told you this before. So my grandfather, who was a complete atheist, long story short, he had a stroke. They found him 3 days later. He was still alive, but he was laying in the hospital, and it was like he was just talking, but it didn't sound like it was making sense. But then I just listened, and I told my mother, I said, he's talking to somebody. So, as the days progressed, he started getting better and better. One day he just looked at us and said, "You know what? All you church people got it wrong." And we looked at him like he was crazy. So he wanted my grandmother to sing him church songs, and we didn't even, he was singing with her, and we like, how he know these songs? And then he looked at us and said, "Let me tell you something. Whatever y'all do, don't ever kill nobody, because you don't want to go to the third dimension." So, I looked at him, I said, "Third dimension?" He said, "Yeah, you don't want to go to the third dimension. It's not nice in the third dimension." He said, "But as long as you love everybody," he said, because he looked at my sister and said, "Sweetheart, all these people got it wrong, because it's about love. It's all about love." That changed my whole perception about a lot of
Well, that
stuff.
was always my perception of
Because
Christ.
one thing is, that's all the New Testament talks about, is that Jesus is love.
Hmm.
So it would stand to reason that it's all about love.
Hmm.
Now, about this third dimension thing, the way he made it sound, you don't want to go to the third dimension. And whatever you do, you better not kill nobody, because that seems to be your one way ticket straight to the third
Hmm.
dimension.
But what I'm saying is that, see, for me, I don't feel. And I'm going to ask you this question too, Whiskey. I'm not arrogant when it comes to Christ, when it comes to my perception of Christ, when it comes to my spirituality. I am not arrogant. For me, the sky is the limit when it comes to Christ. The sky is the limit when it comes to God. As far as I'm concerned, He's beyond, like I said, He's beyond height and width and being a man or a woman, or male or female, or have male or female organs and things like that. God is so beyond that for me. I'm not arrogant anymore when it comes to that, but I know that there are a lot of my brothers and sisters out there that are, and this message goes out to them. Change your perception of, who and what you think Christ is. He's greater than what you think, what you're thinking. If I had a message for everyone, that's the message I would say. God is greater than what you perceive Him to be. You know. What about you, Whiskey?
Oh, I agree with you. You said it so well. You can't perfect perfection. You articulate it so well. That's exactly how it is and what it is. You know, I I know him. I used to talk about him being a mother.
Uh
I
huh.
would say he's a mother,
Uh huh.
for the motherless. But I
Yeah.
used to say that before I lost my mother.
But you know
But
what? This
I
is
said
something. You know what's? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is something that we learn as children. You've learned that, growing up. One of the first prayers that I learned was, "God is great, God is good," and so that's what I've always carried with me. God is great. God is good. You know, um, and that has always been my perception of who God is. He's God. God is great. God is just great, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't have a vision. I don't have an expectation of what God looks like. All I know that God is God. And that's good enough for me. For others that have to have some physicality to go by, or some type of proof that God is, measures up to who we are and all that other stuff. To each his own, with all due respect. But that's just not my perception. My perception has always been that God is great. I'm not arrogant when it comes to God, and I pass the message on to my brothers and sisters to not be arrogant when it comes to Christ. God is more, much, 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 much more than what we think He is. It's kind of like, aliens versus people here on Earth. We are so arrogant to think that we're the only life existing in the universe when there's thousands and thousands and thousands of planets and stars, and dimensions. We're arrogant to think that we're alone in this universe. We're not. You know what I'm saying? We ain't been visited by ET. I don't want to be visited by ET, but um,
But you don't know that.
but we don't know. It would be crazy for us to think that we're the only intelligent life, in the universe. But there are those that believe that, you know, uh, and that's what I'm saying. Um, it's like you changing your name from Kenton to Whiskey Blue. It's about evolution. It's about evolving into, you know a new concept, or a new way of thinking, a new way of open-mindedness, a new way of just acceptance. You know what I'm saying?
And it doesn't change what you've been taught.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. It doesn't change what you've been taught. It just elevates.
Broadens your
Yeah, it
horizons.
just elevates it. That's really it.
right? So true.
Um, yeah, I think once we get that, in the Christian world, once we get that, then we will get along with others better, There won't be so much divide in the Christian world. There are those that believe that the Christian world is going to be the downfall of black people. Um, and my optimism tells me that that's not true. My optimism tells me that we can change as people can change their concept, and they can change their perception of the way in which they see things. Of course, you're going to always have those ones, those hard book people, those people that say, oh no, I don't care what you say, God is this, period, point blank, and that's it. You can't change my mind about nothing. And that's cool. That's what I'm saying. If those people want to continue to think that way or believe that way, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that it is.
Yeah.
But that
So,
that takes a person coming to a place of growth even with themselves in
hmm,
order to be able to come to that resolve or that
right.
resolution. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And a lot of people are not even there. Like I would say I have this aim, for liars. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But the reality at the end of the day, I begin to realize why I had such an issue about liars. But then I also realized that a liar is never going to be a person will never be able to be honest with you until they're able to be honest with themselves.
Of course,
And
yes.
so I had such an issue with liars because the truth of the matter is that I was more like them than what I was even willing to admit about myself at
Exactly.
this stage of my life.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. It goes to practicing what you preach. You say, how am I to sit here and judge this person and call them this and call them that when I, you know, do the same things?
Exactly.
I do the same things that they do. I just do it in a different way,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. So, that is the level that we need to start having understanding of, um, is that we can fall short, but at the same time, as much as we can fall short, we can pick ourselves back up and do it all over again until we get it right.
Yeah. That is so true.
That's it. Um, yes. So, Mr. Carlton Pearson, or Bishop Carlton Pearson, I have a high respect for a person like that. Um, I haven't really studied all of his analogy, but from what I've perceived in his analogy, I like what I hear. Of course, I've heard it on the other side as well. I had a conversation with my uncle, whom is very well versed in the Bible, and my uncle explained to me, with his perception, one would have to believe that, if everybody goes to heaven, then you can just do whatever you want to do here. You can, if you want to, rob, steal, whatever, you can do whatever you want to do because everybody goes to heaven. And I saw it from his side of the spectrum as well, you know um and believe me, shout out to Uncle Fred, because I value him. I value his view of the word, because he's so well versed in it. He's very well versed in the word, and what it means. He I whenever I have whenever I want to know something about the word, I go to him, because I know that he's going to be open and honest with me. He's going to explain it to me in a way in which I can understand it. Now, that's not to say that I agree. It's just to say that I'm enlightened. I'm educated by him when it comes to the word. Um, and let me be clear about this: just because my perception of God goes beyond, because my perception of God goes beyond the word, it goes beyond the Bible, it goes beyond that. It goes, I don't really base my spirituality or my personal relationship with God on the Bible at all. At all. It has, but my personal relationship with God and my spirituality has absolutely nothing to do with the word at all. Um and but I have a high respect for the word. If you know what I mean when I say that. When I say that, I mean um it's a tool that um, is used by all Christians. So you know I have a respect for it. But does it drive the Christian or the man of God that I am? Absolutely not. Um, what do you think of that?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
You
What do
know,
you think of that? Because like I said, everybody has a different way that they perceive Christ and
right,
perceive, and everybody has a different way that they practice their religion. I mean, so a lot of us unspoken won't even admit that, but we do. Everybody doesn't praise God the same way. No individual person praises God the same way as the other does. Some pray, some speak in tongues, some sing praises to God. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
so what I'm saying
I
to you is this is my perception,
right,
of in my personal relationship, in my spirituality, and all of that, all you know jumbled up into one, has absolutely nothing to do with I don't base my relationship with God on the word, on a book,
right.
you know.
And
Um
guess what? I'm so with you when you say that. I mean, I've said that, and I've actually asked people the question for them to just ponder it. You know what I mean? That what if?
I need this.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was about to ask a question to for people to consider. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What they knew, if they knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that there was no heaven and no hell, if they
Hmm.
knew that, how different would they live their life, and
Right, right. Well,
how
that
different would their decisions be than what they
hmm
are now
hmm
believing that?
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
the truth of the matter is, there's a whole lot of people out there that believe that there is a heaven and a hell, but
Hmm.
do some of the most damnable things. So guess what? You
Yeah,
don't need to believe that there is a heaven or a hell to stop you from doing things that you're gonna do anyhow because it's in you to do them.
right.
We keep thinking that the devil, and this was my perception of the devil, that the devil in my early years, that the devil was somewhere because hell was down below.
Hmm.
But what's down to me is up to somebody else,
Right,
depending on where you're standing at
right,
on the face of the earth.
right,
But we
right,
believe that
right,
God
right.
was up. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We were taught that God was up. Well, I learned and have come discovered that God is neither up nor down, neither
Hmm.
is Satan up or down. Both of
Hmm.
them are within me.
Right. and
Both of them are within me.
and as you can see, we both said the same thing. We just have a different way that we perceive it,
That we
that we have a
articulate
different
it.
way that we
Right.
practice it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. I wish people would really see that. I really do. My hope is so badly for people to see that. It's okay for you to feel the way you want to feel, or perceive things you want to perceive them by. It's all about respect. It's all about respect,
Yeah.
and respecting one's belief. You know. Uh,
And your respect is so powerful. A lot of times I
hmm.
think we put our focus on love more than respect. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I would rather a person respect me than tell me that they love me any day. Because
Hmm.
I've had a whole lot of people told me that they love me, But if what they perceive as love that they told me, I don't want it. They can keep that shit. Trust me when I tell you, I don't
Yeah.
even want it. But the God of my perception, I had an epiphany a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And the God of my perception said to me, said, you need to keep that love that you say you have for me because you can only love me to the degree that you can love yourself. Now, this is the conversation that I had with the God of my understanding just a few weeks ago. He said,
Mhm.
you say that you love me, but what you say that when you say you love me, it's a love that I don't need. I don't need
Mhm.
you to love me. You
Mhm.
don't have enough love in you to love me. What I want you to do is go work on loving yourself because I got enough love to love you without any love from you. So
Mhm.
go work on your self-love. And
Mhm.
I had to stop and look at that man.
Mhm.
We say we love people, but we can only love people to the degree that we know those people or to
Mhm.
the degree, you know what I mean?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
So
And
you can't love me if you don't know me.
mhm.
And you can't know me if I don't become transparent to let you know about me. Is it any of your damn business? No, it's not. But sometimes if you want to know, I'll
Mhm.
tell you. I just hope you can handle the
Uh-huh.
business that you want to know. You know what I'm saying? That's none of your damn business, but
Hmm.
because you want to
Yeah,
know, and I'm gonna tell you.
you know what? I remember when I was a kid, my mother used to, when I would be on the phone with my friends, my mother would pick up the other line and listen, and I would tell my mother, I'd be like, you know what? You're gonna pick up that phone one day, and I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you something to listen to. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you know what? And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you, Whiskey Blue, is that listen, one of the gifts that God gave me is hope, right? God gave me this, he gave me this unspeakable amount of hope. And that's because, like I said, I perceive God in a bigger presence than anything. And so, you know, everything that I dream, everything that I think when it comes to Christ and when it comes to life is big. Like, you know, my hope is big. You know, when I'm thinking, when I'm hoping, it's like I'm like it's huge, you know. Um and that's one of the the many great gifts that I have due to my perception of who Christ is. And you know, that's why I say that everyone needs to start thinking of God in a bigger sense. That way we'll have more hope, we'll have more encouragement, we'll have more honesty, we'll have more of so many great things when it comes to Christ, and we'll have so many things to share with one another when we break down these walls and these barriers of, you know, you're not supposed to be this, or you're not supposed to be that, or you're not supposed to do this, or you're not supposed to do that. You know, once we break down all these barriers and realize that all of us are human and we fall short, we can all make mistakes. You know, we all live our lives the same. Just because I cuss don't mean that I don't love Christ. You know, just because I can cuss you out in 2.5 seconds don't mean that I don't love Christ. You know, I can cuss you out and then get on the choir on Sunday morning and sing like a songbird. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, come on now, Whiskey Blue. You done it before. You know
Yes.
where I'm coming from because you're a singer. You know, it's been times when you was out there, you had just got finished cussing somebody out like a sailor on leave,
You
and
better
got up on that
believe it.
stage and did your best performance. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
This may stun some people, but I done preached some of my greatest messages after I just got finished smoking a blunt too.
I know that's right. See there, yeah, but you know,
Now some people are gonna hear that and they're gonna have their thought
hmm
behind what I just said. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth is the truth. And I know the truth, and now they know the truth too.
Right.
But now guess what? They have an opportunity to make a decision. Do I like him or do I not like him? And if you don't like me, you definitely ain't gonna be able to love me. So we
Mm-hmm.
ain't no sense of wasting each other's time.
Right. Mm-hmm. See, it ain't take away from you delivering that message just because you smoked that blunt. You gave a better message. The message was
Exactly.
probably 10 times better than what it would have been if you didn't smoke that blunt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. we
So
got
I'm
this we
just
got to break down these walls of criticism and saying to someone like you that knows the word and can preach the word and can inspire and can encourage and can do all these great things and make people feel all these great things. We got to break down these walls of saying, oh, but he smoked weed. No, it's okay. It's okay. He still delivered the message. The message was delivered because the message came from God. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah.
message was delivered. It ain't got nothing to do with what he got in his hand and he's smoking. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
And let me tell you something. I will tell you this, man. I I'm now where I am now. I'm dangerous to people. And I say that I'm dangerous because when you got a person that ain't got nothing to lose, right?
Hmm.
But guess what? Ain't afraid to die. They dangerous because I'm just gonna say what I perceive and what I believe, whether people like it or not. Because guess what? I'm not afraid of dying. So if they
Hmm.
kill me. I'm not afraid of dying. But
Hmm.
I don't have nothing to lose. But guess what? It is the most liberating place that I have ever been in my life
Hmm.
where I ain't got nothing to lose, but I'm not afraid of dying.
Yeah, I'm
And
like
so
you.
Oh,
I'm the
I
same
live
way.
right. I live every day of my life the way I live it. I
Uh-huh.
had I had a young lady hit me up the other day online, and I get all these friend requests. I got 400 and some. I haven't even clicked on them yet or delete them or nothing. But she said to me, and she's a pretty woman, according to her pictures. I could be being catfish. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But she's a beautiful woman. You know what I said to her before I accepted her friend request? I said, I need you to know that I'm pansexual, I'm sapiosexual. I have a polyamorous philosophy, although I'm single and I'm celibate at this stage of my life. And
Hmm.
she still wanted to. Now, guess what? As long as she know, and I told her that,
Hmm.
she can never say that I never said it to her.
Right.
Listen, I was married. I got married before, right? And I got married to someone that was my friend for about 16 years. Well, she
Hmm.
knew everything about me. I I knew about the women she had been with. She knew about the men and the women that I had been with. Now,
Hmm.
if you marry a man knowing that he's been with women and men, and he knows that you've been with women. You follow what
Hmm.
I'm saying? If that's already out there, why should y'all break up? If y'all don't have the ability to say that you can love each other beyond all of that and through all of that, why did you make another step forward?
Hmm.
Because when the truth is out there, you better believe it. When a person, I'm not trying to make you think that I'm better than what I am. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, this is who I am. I'm
Right.
not going to tell you that I don't smoke now, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I used to smoke cigarettes, right?
Uh-huh.
But I smoke weed, and I want people to know if you have a problem with the fact that I do this, then we can't be together. And then
Right.
now we might can have sex together, but that's another whole story. You know
Right.
what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
To be together, you
Hmm.
gotta be able to accept me for everything you know about me.
Everything.
She
Yep.
knew everything about me. So my
Yep.
belief was this: if
Everything.
if I walked into the house one day and saw her with a woman, why am I gonna get upset? I just set myself up for three different equations. Either one, I could sit there and I could watch.
Hmm.
Number two, I had the choice to join in if I wanted to.
Mhm.
And my third choice was that I could just say, y'all carry on and I'll talk with y'all later. But why
Mhm.
would it shock me that I caught you with a woman when I knew you were with women all but 16 years before that I've known you?
Right, right.
So how are you going to act cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when you think that I'm being with one of the other people and you don't
Uh-huh.
even know? But even if I was, why the hell do you care? If
Right.
you cared, we shouldn't have gotten married.
Mhm. Mhm. That's so true.
But
Yeah.
see, I'm never going to marry someone, and them not know everything about me.
Right.
You follow
Right.
what I'm saying? Because if I tell you everything and you marry me, you are giving the okay sign that you can handle me. Now,
Uh-huh.
if you get into this and you can't handle me, it ain't my fault because you
Mhm.
obviously didn't know yourself as well as you should have known yourself. Because
Yeah.
you thought you could handle me, but you found
Uh-huh.
out that you couldn't handle me.
Uh-huh. It's so funny that you're speaking of this because my husband just today, he was just reminding me we were talking about the fact that our 4-year anniversary is coming up in June. And we were talking about how, when we first got back together, how, you know, I, I had a conversation with Joseph. I was like, Joseph, you ain't gonna want me no more. I told him, I said, I really want to be with you, but you ain't gonna want to be with me. And he was like, why? I said, because this is wrong, and because this is wrong. And he was like, Tramel, he was like, please. He said, I ain't worried about that stuff, you know? And he was like, I don't care what it is. I accept you for who you are. That's like when we decided to get married, it wasn't, we wanted to get married just because it was a piece of paper. We actually thought about, you know, why we were getting married, knowing that, you know, I'm going to have to deal with this person the rest of my life, flaws and all. If we have a fight, I can't just get up and walk away. I'm still married, even though I walk away. You know what I'm saying? So we we thought about we made all the hard decisions. We thought about all the hard things that people don't think about when they get married because they get so wrapped up in the happiness of getting married. You know what I'm saying? And so, Joseph and I, we really sat down and we thought about what we were doing. I even said to him, I said, Joseph, I said, if you don't trust me with your life, then we can't get married. And he was looking at me like, well, what did he mean by that? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's what I said to him. But we thought about it. I mean, like I said, we thought long and hard about, what we were about to embark upon as far as being a married couple. It didn't have anything to do with same-sex marriage or anything like that. Just being a married couple. What does that mean? Does it mean that, my money is his money? What's his is mine and what's mine is his? I tell him that all the time. I say, Joseph, I said, mine, yours, ours. He says, no. I said, yes. And he's like, no, that ain't true. I said, yes, it is. I said, when, in the grand scheme of things, it is. You may not like the way I say it, but it's true. What's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, period, point blank. And those are the things that we had to think about before we, decided to tie the knot and get married. A lot of people don't think about that before they get married. Like I said, they get so wrapped up in the happiness and the institution of getting married. They get so wrapped up in that they don't think about, what goes on after you say the I do's, you know. I think that's why a lot of people are headed towards divorce court and, unfortunately, separation and things like that, is because they don't think, a lot of people throw in the towel real quick. I recall Joseph telling me, he had some friends that got married one day and then the next week they were divorced. I'm like, what? That happened fast. you know you know um But yeah, you have those are things you have to think about. You have to think about those things before you decide to spend the rest of your life with a person. And the person that you spend the rest of your life with, you got to make sure that is this the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Remember that video?
What video?
That be Sword's boys that got married and he had on the blue and silver and white.
Mm-hmm.
You know they got divorced, right?
Really? Lord.
And they asked one of them, "What would you have done different at your wedding?" You know
Mm.
what he said?
Mm-mm.
Not showed up.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I said, "Well, what the hell happened with the two of them?"
Yeah. It's something. It's something. You know. And that's what I mean when people say that. I say to people all the time, marriage isn't easy. And they think that I'm saying it just because I'm unhappy or something like that. No, I'm not. It's a lot of work. It is. It's a lot of work. You have to do the work in order to be a successful married couple and to stay happily married. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, guys. That is our show for tonight. I have to definitely thank Whiskey Blue for joining us. And guys, Whiskey Blue is going to be joining us a lot. I have decided to name him one of our outside correspondents. He will be giving us, different words of inspiration and different hot topics and things like that in the future in season 4. So be on the lookout for Whiskey Blue because this is not his last time with us. Thank you so much, Whiskey Blue, for joining us. You just don't know how much I appreciate it and how uh, um, uh, much I love having your presence on our show. Um, like I said, I hope that you accept my invitation to be one of our correspondents and you will be joining us even more.
For sure. For
And
sure.
we will be helping each other build each other's platforms, of course, guys. As you can see, I don't know, Whiskey Blue does not have his Cash App up, but we will get that information from him. And if you would like to donate something to Whiskey Blue, by all means, you'll be able to send him something through via Cash App, or you can send it to the McCray Kings and just mark it Whiskey Blue, and we will see to it that he gets it.
Or just
or
tell
or
them to
or
put it in the
or,
chat.
or
Yeah.
they could just send it to the M Kings. Just send it to the M Kings. Support this platform. I'm
Oh,
just here to be of encouragement. The wonderful thing about life now is that my life is in control financially.
thank you so
So I
much.
don't
Thank
need
you so
nobody
much.
to give me nothing. You
Thank you.
understand what I'm saying? I want them to bless y'all platform because you guys are doing a great job.
Well, we appreciate that. We definitely appreciate that, Whiskey Blue, and we definitely appreciate you guys. What you say, Joseph?
I didn't say I'm
Oh,
laughing because I said, "Do the people want the song?" Because
uh,
I know Erica in the chat.
oh, Lord have
And
mercy.
Reese Cup said, "Yes, Joseph, the people want the song."
So you gonna do the
It
song?
would be fitting. We was talking about church.
Yeah, we could. I can have you do the song at the end of the show. But I think tonight's show was very interesting. Yes, we did go off tangent several times, but that's what we do here. Up close and personal, we just get into it, guys. We get into the meat of it, and sometimes we may be talking about God at one point in time. Then the next thing you know, we talk about ourselves, and that's okay. It is. It's okay. It's all about having a great conversation, and that's the one thing that I strive for us as Black people, because we need to start enjoying the fruits of our evolution so that we can become a better people. So, guys, make sure that you're watching us on all social media platforms. Joseph, tell them what those are.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, right here on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to become part of the McCray King's Kingdom, hit that join button and become a lord or a lady or a night at our round table. Now, some of you members, because somebody just noticed it today,
Yeah.
didn't know that there is a members only video that's up. You might not have seen it. So if you already have clicked that join button and you're a member, there is a video uh, with Tramiel cooking his collard green soup. And one of the members just found it today and was like, I didn't know y'all made member videos. So just go look in the community tab for that.
Yes, and we will be putting up more
Members
videos for
only videos.
members only. You members only. You'll be getting a lot of deleted scenes, behind the scenes, bloopers, things like that. You'll be getting a lot more of those from us. So please stay tuned, and we thank you again for your
I
financial
told
support.
you in 2022, membership will have its privileges.
Yes, we thank you so much for your financial support, and we will always appreciate that. For those of you that want to donate to our platform, of course, you see our Cash App. So by all means, send us a Cash App today. It doesn't necessarily have to be $1 million, but it could be close to it if you want to do that.
And
and
check out the McCray King's Boutique.
Yeah, check out the McCray King's Boutique for everything McCray King's and Dare to Be Different. Yes. And also don't forget, guys, our new season. We're going to be in our new season, which is season 4, in July 1st is when our new season will begin, and we have so many great things in store for you guys. But in the meantime, to you day ones that are always here, that are always in the chat, that are always moderating, know that we love you, we appreciate you, and we appreciate everything that you do as well.
And if
um
nobody told you they loved you today, just know that me and Tramel do. And
and
there's
also Whiskey Blue too.
absolutely nothing you can do about it.
That's right.
Well, see, he just gave a whole lesson on love.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
I wasn't gonna say it, but since I say it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
he's right.
Yeah, but that's all we have for you this evening, guys. And you know, have a great rest of your Sunday night, and hopefully you'll have a great week. And join us. Make sure that you have your alerts on, your notification bell on, so you'll know when we drop new content. Because you guys know that we're doing it sporadically these days. We don't go on every day, but we do drop videos sporadically, so be on the lookout for those.
And be on the lookout next Saturday. I have to find a time when I have an interview with Shiomara. I think that's how you say her first name,
Hmm.
Rivera. She's going to come on because she works for a company that fixes your credit.
Oh yeah,
So if you
I
have
can't
credit
wait for that.
issues, if you have credit problems, and you want to know how to fix your credit, you don't want to miss this live that
Yes, I
I'm going to
can't
do
wait
with
for
her
that. I'm looking so
on
forward to it.
Saturday.
Yeah, she's helping you fix your credit,
She's
Joseph.
helping me fix my
Yeah.
credit, and she is going to have answers and all everything you want to know about fixing your credit.
Hmm.
She definitely can educate you, help you, inform, and everything else under the sun. So look out for that on Saturday.
Yes, and I will be dropping a video sometime this week. It's going to be a cooking video on. I'm going to be making sweet potato pies, so you guys be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to do my sweet potato pie recipe for everyone to see, and you'll get that video probably sometime this week. So with that being said, guys, we are out of here again. Thank you, Whiskey Blue, once again for joining us. Do you have any final words?
No, but love you, brothers, man, and thank you for allowing me to be a part.
And thank you so
You are
much
welcome. But
again.
before we go, I have to do this for Erica because
Oh yeah.
every time I know Erica is in the chat, I have to give her what she wants, what she needs in her spirit.
This is Joseph's praise song.
My praise and worship song. Come on up in the Lord's house, Ishalakandala. Oh, come on up in the Lord's house, Ishalakandala. Come on up in the Lord's house, Ishalakandala. Robobo Shanda, Ibobo Shai Kandala. Oh, yes.
All right. Well,
You know,
y'all,
I just made my
Hallelujah.
y'all walk in love, peace, sunshine, happiness, and all those great and beautiful
Now you know
things.
the bad part, right?
What's
You know
that?
Whiskey Blue gonna hit me up on Messenger and go, I can't get that song out of my head. Like everybody when they first hear it.
How
Yeah,
about it? I
yes.
was just about to call.
Whiskey Blue, don't you go nowhere. We just go end this live, guys, and y'all remember to walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness, and always remember it's Team McCray.
All damn day.
Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.